Welcome to the Fellowship at Home. I'm Bishop Greg Davis, your host, along with Bishop Johnny Withers tonight.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, what's happening, man? You good?
I'm good. Bishop, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. What that hat say?
Oh, it says kicks and Christ.
Kicks and
Yeah.
Christ. You
Yeah.
talking about sneakers?
So wear your sneakers and some
Yeah.
Jesus.
You know I know.
Amen.
You know, I'm a kicks and Christ guy. Welcome, everybody. This is the Fellowship at Home. As you are coming in, can you check in and tell us where you are coming in from, please, ma'am, please, sir? What region, what state? I need you all to do like I've done. I need you to share and invite. This is the Fellowship at Home. We thank God for the opportunity to do this. Thank, of course, our presiding, bishop, Bishop Joseph Warren Walker III, and
Yes.
certainly his lovely lady, and all of our leadership. To our founder, we'd not be here if it wasn't for him and his leadership. Welcome, everybody. Let us know. I see you all coming in, but I don't see nobody saying no. Ain't nobody saying nothing. And we are excited because we are literally what, a week and a half.
Man,
I get in early,
less
so
than
I
15
count
days.
I count next Friday when I get to Atlanta. So it begins,
About
but
12, about 12 days. Are we about
yeah,
12 days out?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, these
Mm-hmm.
weeks is going so fast. It's like Bishop Oliver is back with us. Bishop Craig Oliver, he is over our pastors and a council
Yes.
member. And we wanted to, hey, Bishop Tyrone Jefferson, peace, man, New Orleans, Southern region. Bishop, welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to share another week. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We see you a lot during these times.
I know, absolutely. Trying to get, of course, Propel um, forward. I push it forward and get people engaged and
Yeah.
connected with this amazing experience that is forthcoming.
Well, you look a little more rested, and you know, from last week, because I know you was just getting back from across the continent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, last week went to Cape Town, and
Wow.
that following day, of course, you had me to participate.
It was the next
Fellowship
day.
at home.
It was the
Yeah.
next.
It was,
Oh God, I feel so bad now.
no, but I'm good though. I appreciate it.
Oh, was it a mission trip?
It was a mission trip, yeah. So we have a church over there in Cape Town that we have partnered with for several years, the Agape Church, and the
Really?
young pastor by the name of Pastor Freedom that is doing an incredible job, incredible job. And so we took right at about 15 of our members and of course, engaged in more of a discipleship form of mission work and some community evangelism.
Okay, so how often do you do that?
Wow. So we actually have, with that particular church, we go once a year and we do at least about 5 to 7 international trips each year. And so in November, we're scheduled to go to Nairobi, Kenya. And there's a church, Dr. David Katanga, the Huduma Church, that we've had the opportunity and privilege to help build a church and to build a school that has as many as 800 students in it.
Oh, Bishop. So this is a part of, and I am a benefactor of EBC. When started the podcast studio, he don't talk a lot about what he do, but this pastor, this bishop,
Yeah.
uh just raises funds and just gives. Now I don't want you to be flooded, so I ain't gonna talk too much. I don't want to they start saying it, but I want to say it. Yeah, because they'd be like, oh yeah, let me go. But so you guys take from your budget every year to help those churches across the continent?
Yeah. And so we earmark in our budget each and every year a certain allotment of funds. And of course, we give seed funds to each of those ministries as we support them annually. And of course, as you mentioned, we have each year, the first Sunday in December, what is called Giving Sunday. And whatever we raise on that particular Sunday, we give it all away. Nothing of those funds go towards the operational expenses of the EBC, but towards local and national and international um, ministry impacts.
Somebody might be
That's
saying,
amazing.
yeah, it is. Somebody might be saying, okay, our church is not that big. And I always try to pivot to this.
Mhm.
and we're going into the conversation. How can I do something like that at the size that I'm at?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the question.
And so it's not size, it's sacrifice.
Woo!
I argue at the end of the day, it does not matter how large your church is,
Oh,
or
sorry.
how small or what have you. It's just a matter of making a decision as opposed to operating in a normal year cycle out of 52 Sundays of offerings. You
Hmm.
set your budget for 51, and you automatically count in on the front end that this year, as opposed to us counting on 52 offerings, we're going to set the budget for 51, knowing that we're going to give that one particular Sunday away. And that works on any scale, whether your church is bringing in 100,000 a year, or whether your church is bringing in, 10 million a year.
Yeah.
Something about, just making that sacrifice. And here's what I've discovered, as odd as it may sound, we always make it up.
Wow.
We
Wow.
make it up. Whatever we give away on that particular
It comes
Sunday,
right back.
it
Yeah.
comes back.
Jesus.
Wow. It's not, let me tell you, Bishop Withers is going to repeat that somewhere. He going to give you
You know I
credit.
am. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
he
already. I
gonna
already
be in-
filed that one away.
He's gonna be in this meeting with his pastors in the region. He's gonna say, "Now listen, y'all,
Uh-huh.
it ain't about y'all size, it's about the sacrifice. You know, preachers.
About the sacrifice. Just want y'all to understand.
Yeah, because I'm gonna take it too. So
That's a beautiful thing.
it is. Bishop, talk about Propel. Let's go right into it. We're I think Bishop Withers says we're 12, 14 days away.
Yeah.
What are we doing right now to prepare? What should we be doing? What you need us to do? What?
Quite candidly, I need everyone to register to be a part. The staff and the team is working diligently to create an incredible experience that is designed to, first of all, empower, to equip, and to expose, and to expand, your whole paradigm as it relates to ministry. And so the team is all hands and all hearts are on deck to execute this conference and to ensure that it's a conference of excellence. And so, of course, what we need right now is for pastors and leaders and those who are a part of the marketplace context of ministry to sign up and be a part of this experience, as we know that it's going to add value to you personally and as well as professionally. Just really excited about the conference. And part of the big excitement is that it's not a conference that is just one-dimensional, focusing on preaching. Though I support conferences and things of that sort that focus exclusively on preaching. But our presiding bishop, of course, has a heart for the local church. And in having a heart for the local church, the emphasis is not just on preaching, but the plethora of different aspects of the local church. So we're dealing with, yes, preaching, but we're also dealing with the aspect of discipleship, how to handle your finances in the church. We're dealing with mental health. We're still addressing the aftermath of COVID. And so we have a special panel. Of course, we know Bishop Guy Robinson and Bishop Lisa Wea, and as well as Bishop Linda Willis and Pastor Jasper William III, who has an incredible podcast where he speaks in a very in-depth way about his personal challenges with mental health. And so he's coming to share. And so again, we decided to broaden the whole reach of Propel beyond just the preacher and pastor's context of ministry, but to have a broader experience that deals with the different facets of church life and leadership life.
Bishop, would you argue and say that, the church has come back, but we ourselves as pastors and leaders, we really never had to come back, but we are now realizing that we never really left. And the weight of that moment of that pandemic and working through that and shifting and changing and becoming a director overnight and becoming a producer overnight has really weighed on us, I believe. Would you argue and say that that's kind of some of what we're dealing with right now?
And with COVID, they have this whole concept called the long haul experience of COVID. And I think that holds true for pastors and leaders. That there is still that lingering long haul experience of COVID that many pastors are still working through and wrestling with. And it's not so much the biological aspect of it, the physiological aspect of it, as much as it is the mental and the emotional. We're still working through that. And I can personally, state, and I'm vulnerable and transparent enough to state I'm working through it. You
Yeah.
can't go through that for 2.5, almost 3 years and not have some side effects. It's
Yes.
impossible, especially when you're on the front line of having to lead through that experience. It
Yeah.
has a residual effect upon you as a leader. And so that's part of the reason why we've established as the theme a resurgence. And we're just really believing that this is the year and a conference that will speak towards that end, how to bounce back and how to gain your spiritual footing again after going through a crisis and going through an experience of that sort. And so no doubt, man, it's hard.
Yeah, that's
It's
rough.
hard. And we're witnessing. It's interesting when you look at what's happening in the church community, where you have a lot of pastors that are going through different, experiences, moral failure and mental breakdowns, and some who are just, at the verge, and if not at the verge, have made the decision, I'm walking away from ministry.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
we're living in some difficult days. And I shared with the staff and with our church, the greatest challenge with COVID is not just the experience itself as much as it is the aftermath of it. You live in California,
Yeah.
and you know firsthand that it's not just the issue of the earthquake as much as it is the effects of the aftershocks of it that happens
Keep on
once it's
coming.
over.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Trying to deal with that. Right. Yeah. That's so true.
So you were transparent, and I want to say this. You all know I was on the Word Network 16 years, and during the pandemic, literally I manned the ship. There's a red couch right in front of me that I sat on, sometimes 6 days a week, calling pastors' names out, praying, helping with the programming because um, we were in the pandemic. And do you know the reason why I walked away after 16 years?
Hmm.
Wow.
2022 of November is because
Wow.
I was wore out,
Yeah,
sitting on that couch, halfway wondering if I was gonna live through it.
yeah,
Y'all got families and stuff there. I'm by myself, and my head over the pot, you know, doing everything they're telling me to do. This remedy, this that, hearing sirens while I'm still smiling and saying, "Welcome to Greg Davis Live." So I can relate to that. And sometimes we don't even we ain't had the chance to stop.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
You could say it's a vacation or whatever, but even on that, you still got to be connected in some of the things you do.
Still
So
moving.
so
Hmm.
thank you, Bishop, for thinking about us. And I've seen some of Jasper Williams' stuff, and
it's
it's gonna
incredible.
really be good. And
It
of course,
is.
our bishop that heads up that area, is just awesome. So it's going to be amazing. Bishop, I want you to start from the time that we arrive at Propel in a day's schedule. What is a day like in Propel? What do
Incredible
we start
question.
with? What do we start with?
Yeah. And so we've decided to design an experience that is balanced. When I say balance, it's very intentional and robust as it relates to the curriculum and learning and inspirational experiences. And so we start off with praise and worship, harp and bowl, where, of course, Bishops Murphys, the two Murphys, of course, lead that, junior and third, and just really usher us into the presence of God. And then we have with our AM experience, our first keynote speaker that will start off that experience. Bishop Withers, of course, one year, of course, was that speaker. As I
Thank you
never will
again.
forget,
Thank you again, Bishop.
yeah,
Thank you again.
he talked about depression and did a masterful job
Thank you,
Absolutely.
sir.
in addressing that particular topic. So we'll start off with that AM, and then we'll transition into a brief moment of a break, and then we'll have our first Propel Talk. When I say Propel Talk, think in terms of TED Talk, wherein you have someone who takes center stage and will talk about a particular theme. And in this case, we have an array of different themes that will be addressed. And we modify that a tad bit as opposed to it being just one primary communicator. At times, we may have a primary communicator, and at times, it will be facilitated by way of panel discussion. wherein we'll address that particular topic and have different perspectives being added and conversing on that particular topic. Then we'll transition at the same time as Pro Talks. We'll also have what is known as some of our specialty classes that will be addressing different aspects of leadership and even ministry as it relates to discipleship, church finances, as I indicated, intergenerational connectivity, and dealing with project management, how to go about effectively leading a project, and an array and a host of different subject matters would take place simultaneous as the PROPEL Talks are occurring. Then we'll move into an afternoon worship experience where, again, another keynote speaker or preacher will be sharing. And towards that, we'll come towards lunch and we'll end for the day. And that is the morning afternoon period. We'll convene again at night at 7:00 p.m. With our night of worship. And that will take place each and every night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The conference, of course, is the 15th to the 17th of this month. And that's the basic format of it. The exciting part is we have food trucks that will be coming so that during the lunch period, you're able to have a moment to network with other pastors and other leaders and break bread together and have that moment of fellowship. And so that is the design. You know, I've gone to conferences, I participated in many of them and preached, and some can be overwhelming, starting from 8 in the morning and going all the way to 10 at night, and you never have a moment just to break and to decompress.
Yeah.
And so we decided to have a tad bit more of a relaxed experience. And so it would go from 8 in the morning right to about 2 o'clock, have a break between 2 and 7, so that you can at least decompress. If not decompress, you can go to Lennox, you can go to Phipps, and go to many of the different restaurants here in Atlanta, come back again, you know, at 7 o'clock and get inspired by the word and by worship.
He said the malls, that was for me mainly.
I noticed it. It seemed like it was directed towards you.
That's for us. You know, we share the same addiction.
We share the same addiction.
And by the way, you know, when I talked about those boots,
yeah, he out of the country and he's sending me pictures of boots, and I'm saying
from Cape Town, South Africa.
From Cape Town.
And I'm at the store right now. I was at Lennox or one of them, and I sent them back to him. I said, they're right here, Bishop.
But on a serious note, but here's the other part. That is what helps us to maintain our buoyancy and our stability. When we can just take off the clergy collar and just have normal conversation.
Absolutely.
You know? So I appreciate, how you just create that space of just transparency and just comfortability and just being, you know, men beyond just being bishops. So thank you so much for that, Bishop.
I love it. I love it.
And let me say this with us before you go. Here's the thing about PROPEL. You're not in service late at night.
No.
You're out of the door sometime before 9 o'clock, huh, Bishop?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love it.
I'm telling you, the glory falls.
Yes, sir.
It does.
The glory falls. So don't say, well, see, we think you got to have, you know, since I've been, Bishop Oliver, you understand this. Since I've been going to Triumph, I understand it don't take all day.
Right. You know, the challenge is, you know, like on a Sunday when you're running 5 worship services.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to, of course, honor that spirit ordained moment. And yet at the same time, you have to have some sensitivity that you can't linger all day and all night.
Yeah. But I've gotten used to it. It's a good problem.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
The big bro, Bishop, I got one quick question.
Please.
It might be some. Will you have a list of readings, possibly, maybe a certain type of books or things like that we probably as pastors would need to like invest in? I mean, don't necessarily have to be there, but would you be handing out a list, or even as much as informing us of a list?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned that. Did not think of that. I'm not going to sit here and try to fake it as if that was already in the workings, but no, thank you for that insight. And we will cultivate a book list. And I think quite candidly, what we can do is cultivate a book list based upon each subject matter.
That'd be great.
They can have additional resources
to
continue to read on and to study from post the conference. I appreciate that, Bishop. Absolutely.
Thank you, sir.
I appreciate it.
You see why he's my co-host and I'm bringing him on?
Yeah.
Because I would never thought about no books.
Hey, you was thinking about boots while I was thinking about books.
Absolutely. One thing
That's
about
because he just finished at D-Men and he just
Hey,
finished.
man, it's still in me,
It's still
man.
in him, yeah.
that's one thing about Bishop Oliver. He's always going to talk about what he's
Yes.
reading.
Yes.
And what I've learned, what you're reading has a lot to do with what you're thinking
Yeah.
Yes.
and the way you move. So we need that. Now
So
there's a
speaking about reading, let me tell you what I'm reading right now, and I would
Oh,
encourage
there
you
we
to
go.
pick
That's
up
good.
this book. It's by Dr. King in 1967, his last literary work entitled "Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community?" And in
Ooh,
light of the political climate that we're in, I would recommend that to every pastor and every leader. Of course, he's dealing with this whole aspect that there's two pathways, one being that of chaos, one being that of community, wherein, of course, he envisioned that beloved community wherein justice and truth and love prevails. And quite candidly, we're at that crossroad right now. This
Yes.
upcoming election, November the 5th, will actually be the determinative factor whether or not from here we go in a direction of chaos or whether we go in a direction of community. And I utilized that book as an inspirational source for the sermon that I preached last Sunday, which was entitled that way. Not, of course, claiming any originality for the topic, but that was my topic. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community?
That's
wow.
awesome. That's amazing.
I see Bishop Jonathan Woods. Bless you, Bishop. We still feasting from you in July. Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
he
sir.
preached.
Yes,
He
sir.
called
Reverend.
us to repentance.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And then made us shout.
Yes, sir.
And Pastor Whitehall, he says, this is great because I can have a date night afterward. You definitely can.
Yes, you
Yeah.
can. And if you
Mhm.
need recommendations where to go in Atlanta, talk to
Yeah.
me. I'll point you in the right direction.
Go to Bishop Oliver, say, I need to know where to take my wife.
Yeah.
He know. I be trying to go get me a vegan burger after. Bishop, share for those that say, is it too late to come? Share with them, where do they go register? And share with them if there's still hotels, just share with them whatever they need to know to get there.
Yeah. So no, it's not too late. Again, the conference is October the 15th through the 17th here in Atlanta, Georgia at Elizabeth Baptist Church. And you can go to fullgospelbaptist.org. That is fullgospelbaptist.org. And you can sign up. And it is for $169. And again, everything that I just explained and described will be a part of that fee for $169. So you can still sign up today. As it relates to the hotels, I just spoke to our event director, and she actually had to get some additional blocks of room in that our initial blocks were already sold out. So yes, there are still some rooms available, but I would encourage you to sign up immediately to be a part of the PROPEL experience, as I know it's going to add value to your life and to your leadership. So again, go to fullgospelbaptist.org and sign up today.
Bishop Oliver, you know, I've been planning events for years. Do you know what that means when you need more rooms? That means some folk ain't registered. So y'all getting rooms and ain't ready. Y'all register now. Don't let my bishop of pastors lose the rest of his hair. He thinning out.
You can see it out.
Come on over here. The table is come on, join the club, Bishop. You're gonna look all right. You're gonna look all right. You're gonna still have swag. No, seriously, y'all go register.
Yes.
The information is pinned. And the last thing before we go, is it too late for them to shadow your people? You're doing something different this year where you're opening up EBC. And what I love about you, every time you speak about this, you say you're not the only right one, but heck, you are one of the right ones.
You're one of the right ones.
Always glean from somebody else, no matter how long you've been doing it. You go and glean, and got one of the premier ministries. You always talk about you're going to sneak it in the back of somebody's conference. You always glean it. So talk about if it's too late for them to do that and how that is working. He's opening up the doors of his church, and you're going to intimately be with some of the leaders. And while PROPEL talks are going on, that's going on. It's moving parts going on. It's a lot going on. Go ahead.
It's a lot, yeah.
And so we have specialty courses that will be offered on Wednesday and Thursday. A total of about 7 to 9 different courses that will be offered, dealing with discipleship, dealing with pastoral and congregational care, dealing with project management and HR, church finances, and an array of different topics. Wherein I've invited our staff and church leaders to give full access to the systems, the processes, the strategies that we utilize to facilitate ministry at EBC. And the interesting part is that we decided to make it very small, so it's limited space per specialty course. And that is by design. You know, though the classrooms can host more, we've decided to keep it small so that you can at least have that moment of intellectual exchange, you know, wherein you're able to ask your various questions and get insight from those leaders as it relates to how we facilitate ministry. And so that is the big takeaway, I think, from this experience, that it's not just the inspirational part from the worship and preaching aspect, but it's really being a part of that small community wherein you can receive insight and glean, as you stated, Bishop Davis, from some of the leaders at EBC. And again, as I stated before, it's not that we're, you know, the church that have it all together, but such as we have, we offer unto you. And we'll offer this as an opportunity so that you can be exposed, and even beyond that, be inspired to take your church to the next level. So I invite you, if you have not signed up, to do so. And it's an additional fee of $25. And that gives you access again to at least 2 of those specialties per day. That is on Wednesday and Thursday. And so if you've signed up to be a part of PROPEL, and pastors, listen, you can't go to everything. So send some of your leaders to those various specialty courses so that they can gain and glean the information to bring it back to your ministry.
So, Bishop, I know you want, you know, I know you're a pastor by heart, but if people just cannot get off of work, if a bivocational pastor just cannot get there, I know you want them there, but we living in this age now, COVID brought it in, that you can be there by sitting at your desk.
That's right.
So can they watch this?
Very good question, Bishop. And so we have the PROPEL virtual experience, and that is $99, wherein you can have access to the AM, afternoon, and PM worship experiences,
That's good.
as well as the PROPEL talks, and that is live. And the exciting part is, even with the PROPEL talks, we have this company that is called Sketch Effects, that as the speaker is up actually teaching and preaching, they're drawing out the notes on the LED walls.
That boy
so that
bad.
you can at least take that with you and have that visual aid as well. And so we have, again, the PROPEL on Demand experience. And I would encourage you to consider that as another second option. And just, you know, look at, again, the website at fullgospelbaptist.org. And in this case, you would select then the virtual experience for $99.
Yeah, and during our time, thank you, and I'm like Bishop Withers, I thank you much. Every year you allow us to host those PROPEL talks and come up and ask questions, and we take questions from online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, they say, I have them send and text me questions. So it's like you're there. So if you cannot get there and you watching this on the replay, you can go and select that virtual option. That's where we are. Sometimes you just can't get there, you know? So register. Go now. Don't wait. It's pinned there. You can watch it on Brushfire, and you'll be blessed. Bishop Oliver, I appreciate you.
Thank you, big bro.
I expect a copy of that book that you're reading. You're gonna get me to read. Where do we go?
I got you. Consider it done.
I think I want to read that one.
But I want the boots. I want the boots. Give me the boots.
Now we just switch places. I don't know if you can handle these boots.
Oh
yeah, they got a lot of fire to it. Got a lot of
fire. We love you, Bishop. Thank you.
Love you, Bishop.
All right.
I see.
All right, y'all. That is our Bishop of Pastors. Go and register for PROPEL. We are excited, and if there was never a time you need to be able to learn, and don't you know, it's one thing for you to go, pastors, and then your people don't go and you come back all fired, you change the
Fired
name.
up and can't
Yeah,
you can't even communicate it right.
right. Bishop Withers, you used to do that before. I remember.
I did. No, I did it. Then I went to the point, tried to do it by myself, and I tried to communicate it. And I'm all fired up and try to,
Didn't even
man, it wasn't
understand
even
nothing you
coming
was
out
talking
right.
about. Didn't even understand nothing you was talking about. Tell me where he get this.
They were just looking at me. I was like jumping
Yeah.
around, hopping up and down, and man.
Yeah. You remember
Yeah.
in the old Baptist days, old National Baptist days, you had to come back and bring a report to the church if they said
Oh
something.
yeah, yeah.
You
Bring
had
a
to stand
report.
up in front of the I remember doing
Yeah.
that. Boy, I went with this old man, Deacon Brown, and I had to stand up in front of the Sunday school from the Congress and give my report. I was a teenager. Oh my God. Anyway, we're gonna bring our next three guests in, and
Yeah.
we're talking to our young adult pastors and ministry, and they're gonna tell you what they do. I'm gonna let Bishop Withers introduce them. Not only
Oh
that,
Lord.
we're talking to our youth overseer who's getting ready to the installation hasn't happened yet, right?
Yeah.
No, sir.
No, it hasn't happened.
It's next Saturday.
It's next Saturday, right? Because I'm supposed to be in the wedding.
It's next
Right,
Saturday.
next Saturday.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That. Go ahead and introduce them.
Well, listen, people, y'all, we have some of the nation's finest, the greatest, some of the great thinkers. And I'm proud to just be connected with them as a brother. My big brother, Winton, man, Boutin, Dartanyan. Listen, I'm saying that affectionately, but Bishop Winton and Bishop Boutin and the right reverend that's on his way to having his own. Amen. We're excited about it. Now, listen, y'all. Listen, we get ready to have a great conversation.
Drums. Came a long way from them
we have a
drums.
great man. Listen, these guys are getting ready to drop the bomb on us. Let's get ready for what it is that they're going to say. Y'all say what's up to us, starting with Winton. Say what's up, Winton.
Hey, good
Bishop
evening.
Winton. I'm sorry, sir. Bishop
You're good.
Winton.
I like my name too, so we're good. Good evening, everybody. It is awesome to be here tonight, bringing you greetings on behalf of the Young Pastors Division of the best fellowship in the world. So we're excited about tonight. I'm excited to be here with one of the coolest, a few of the coolest bishops in our fellowship. So yeah, we're excited, bro. Thanks for having me.
Man, appreciate you, Bishop. Bishop Boutin, talk to us, sir. That Louisiana. Let me hear that Louisiana.
I just was wondering if did you feel the chill in the atmosphere tonight?
Oh, here we go.
Feel the coolness in the room. I'm gonna just leave that right there. It got
Who
a little
that?
cold.
Who
Got a little
that?
cold. Got a little cold in here.
No, he didn't talk about that, Bishop Davis. They try to talk about something else.
I know. I'm trying to change climate.
Who that? Yeah.
I'm just trying to put it on the screen, let everybody know.
I had. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm so excited, man.
I'm gonna show y'all what I'm a part of. All I know to do is that. I ain't none of them.
You could come on over, Bishop. We got something for you.
No, he's sitting on a red chair. He got to come over.
We know. We already know. I know for a fact he wouldn't come this way, but that's all right though. That's all right.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Brandon Boutin, Bishop of the Young Adult Division here at Full Gospel. We're excited, of course, to be online tonight with my brothers and all the Full Gospel family. We love you guys. Just happy to be here. Love you, Bishop.
Glad to have you, Bishop. Appreciate you, man. Pastor Dartanyan, talk to us, sir.
Family. Like my brother Bishop Winton. I like my name too, but I couldn't change it on the screen to Dartanyan, so it's stuck at Pastor DJ. But just so excited to be a part of our fellowship at home tonight. Serving as the general overseer of children and youth has been an amazing experience and an honor to serve our beloved fellowship. So I'm looking forward to the dialogue tonight. I get a chance to be on with a few of my brothers and some good friends. Me and Bishop Davis go way back to, like he said, the drums. He had hair. And then, yeah. So we'll stop there.
And then.
Listen, let me say something about two of them that's here. And well, even Pastor Dartanyan. Now, in the past, they would come up here with walls behind them, no chairs, no offices. Now, Pastor Dartanyan, he got a nice chair and picture behind him because he a pastor.
Yeah.
These other two, they bishops now. They got big chairs
Credenzas,
and
uh,
credenzas. Boy, I tell you what, look
ox
at me.
blood chairs.
Look at me.
You know,
I mean,
It's Bible study night. It's Bible study night.
you can tell me and Bishop Withers been at
I
this
got
for
a
a while.
wall.
We got a wall. We went back to, but they got the Bishop starter offer kits.
Ooh, they got it. They got it. Boy, they got it, Bishop. Tell them that.
I love
wow.
y'all. It'll be 30 years for me in November that I've been a bishop, so I get the right to give that to y'all. 30
Wow.
years.
Wow.
They were not having them all together. I had the last consecration at a church by myself.
Wow.
That was the days. Is that crazy? Yeah, 30 years ago.
Wow.
So hey, Pastor, I saw somebody else coming. Victor Tate, bless you, man. He's one of our speakers for Propel. Good to see you, man. So we are in a crazy climate right now.
Yeah.
Politically. For Propel. Good to see you. I'm getting feedback. We're in a crazy climate. I was at the barbershop today, and we went to talking about. I said I don't understand why people are saying I'm not going to vote at all, or I'm going to vote for an independent. And I was saying that both of those votes, while I want everybody to vote, all right, but I feel like, and I feel like there's some wasted votes because an independent has never won. Now, don't get me wrong, they got a right to vote wherever they want to vote.
Yeah.
Secondly, when you don't vote at all, you are voting. Then I was told, this is where I'm going, by my barber who's around y'all age, and our former chief of police was there, who's older than me, Chief Craig. We were at the barbershop at the same time. D said to me that your generation and younger don't like us to say that's a turnoff when we say the lesser of two evils, because they say no, we don't want to vote for evil at all. We just rather not vote. What say y'all? This is to all of y'all. This is even to Bishop Withers, because he's in y'all. How do we get past that that feeling that, well, we don't want to vote at all? Because I know we say it every time, but I'm really vested into this election. Like I'm on Ball Alert. I'm on Spiritual Work. I'm on there literally when I see falsehoods, and they're attacking me. But this is my contribution as an influencer to the whole political system. I'm really into this. What say y'all about what I just said? Whoever.
Well, Bishop, part of the problem is it go back to the church. And here's why I say I'm not blaming the church, but what I'm saying is there's so many things over the past 2-3 generations. I'll say, I'll just air quotes, I'll say the last 2 or 3 generations, there has been less discipline. There has been less structure. Everybody wants to allow their children to find themselves, okay, without the parental guidance that God established. And then it snowballs into everything else. Okay, so while I know that was directly about voting, but you had to go to the root. So the root of it, they haven't been really held accountable for a lot of other stuff. So now, because their opinions have been given so much validation, because they've been allowed to say what they want to say, because they're expressing themselves, now a bit of confusion and ignorance is what's driving the ship now. And then they make statements like that. So they don't want to hear us talk about what John Lewis said about voting is the most powerful nonviolent change agent that you can use in a democratic policy or in a democratic country, right? But you have to use it because it's not guaranteed you could lose it, right? I'll paraphrase what he said, but that's what he said. But most of them haven't heard that statement. So that's why I say it goes back to the church, because most political activism was spearheaded by people in the church.
Yeah, because my grandfather, that ain't the way we vote here. We do this, we do that. You heard that from the older guys. So I never thought of it that way. All right, who else wants to go?
I'll jump in, Bishop. I think to speak to your question, one of the things that I did prior to us coming on this particular live was I sent out a survey amongst our young adults within our church.
Mm.
And I put this survey out amongst them to ask them certain questions. For example, one was, why don't young adults feel the need to vote or to be engaged or involved? And some of the responses that I got back, and I wanted to purposely bring this out on the call tonight, was that some people have a mindset or attitude that regardless what's going to happen is going to happen. They don't feel as if my vote, whatever's going to happen, and we just going to deal with it. However, one of the problem is that said that we don't take the time to educate ourselves on the policies and the procedures that candidates are trying to introduce. And if we want more young adults to be engaged, we have to find a way to communicate to them how some of these policies will affect them. Example, Project 2025, that we understand that if some of these things pass through, there's a possibility that they want to get rid of the Department of Education. Or if you're a young adult and you have children, that they have the right to, when your children get old, they can send them to war, which may include you. Like some things like that, we have to make sure we're educating our young adults and young people on these policies, because it's hidden. Of course, they put it in these policies and people don't read it. So because they're not reading it, because they're not educated on these policies, it's just we're gonna have a few bad years. Okay, so what? We'll get over it. But they really do not understand the impact of the decision that they're making. So we have to do a better job, as Brother Dartanyan said, of making sure as a church we're doing our part to educate and let them know what this election is all about.
Yes.
I want to add to that too. Is it because maybe they haven't felt what the generation even before me felt, the John Lewis's and the Martin Luther King? Everything is so comfortable. There's nothing to fight for. I mean, right now, barring Reverend Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton, you have Pastor Jamal Bryant out here, but who there were leaders in those days. They were evident that now, you got Tamika Mallory, who's a friend of mine. You got a few, but there's no
The
when
church.
there's no everything was done from the church.
Yeah. This is the first time that you see that the church is really not
yeah
vested as
they
it
didn't care
as
nothing
it
about
once
what
was.
separation of state and all that, because in the
Yeah.
Bible days the prophet was the one that spoke to the kings and Bishop went to go ahead. I didn't mean to go ahead. I'm passionate about this. Go on, y'all.
No, Bishop, that's good. Finish that point, because I think that's a major point. Finish that, please.
Yeah, it was regular. We went to the kings. I haven't
Yeah.
seen that since the days of Billy Graham. Billy Graham didn't care who was the president. He was going to the White House. Now even the preachers are so partisan and can't speak into the life of,
That's
you know.
good.
So where's our light and our salt?
That's good, Bishop.
Go ahead, Bishop.
I believe that you're absolutely right. We did see where politicians, when they wanted an agenda pushed or when they needed something pushed, the Black church particularly was the place that they came, right, to push that agenda, because they knew that if they could rally up the church could go into the community, and the church was the community, right, at that time. But I do think we've shifted into this space where people value noise over needs, right? That it's rah-rah. In the day of the evolving social media, what you will find in our generation is that there's a lot of posting, but there is not a lot of movement from the other side. And so I'm not saying, I don't like to generalize, so I'm not saying my entire generation, because there are some movers and shakers out there who are really doing stuff. But I do want to highlight that if you think about it, if we have a bad restaurant experience, we go to that restaurant. My generation is more likely to do what? Post about their horrible restaurant experience, right? And after the noise settles, we usually don't see the need. And so I'm thinking now it's going to take us and many other people to restore that so that we can put the needs over the noise, because I still think there's a way to do it and not just be all wrapped up in the noise.
That's good. That's real good. That's real good. So from a pastor and from the seat of pastors and leaders in this particular time and era, how do you actually navigate, the community versus culture? How do you navigate? That's one question. How you navigate that culture being that noise versus the community that we're trying to build and that we're leading? And then likewise, how do you balance out those conservatives versus those liberals that are sitting right there next to each other in the same pew? How do y'all?
I think before you even get to conservatives and liberals, you have to have the actual conversation. And you have to sometimes help people understand that them talking is not conversing. Some of them are just talking to be heard. So you have to bring them to the table, have the real conversation, and then speak in truths and not hyperbole. Because so often the buzzes from social media and the snapshots and the viral cliches is what is the conversation of the day. And oftentimes they have no clue about what was said or what they're regurgitating. So being able to have the conversation while not being accusatory, not being condescending, but pulling them into the conversation and posing a few whys, like why this or why that, or take me into that a little bit more. How did you land on that? And then take them back to the book. Bishop Davis just said that the kings, the prophets were who instructed the kings on what they ought to do, right? So taking them back to the word and what the church's position is supposed to be, and it's God's position, right? And that God uses imperfect people all the time. Okay, and we got track records of it. And then having the conversation and speaking to them from a place of truth and facts and not tradition alone. Okay, and expired successes, because they can only tangibly look at the things that they've seen work or been told that worked and they never experienced it. So you have to get through the minutia of all of that to have the true conversation. And sometimes the labels and the partisan discussions, it kind of gets in the way early on because they want you to talk about it from a partisan perspective. And it's like, we got to start lower than that because we're not really ready. So that's kind of the vacillating conversation that I've experienced and that I've had to have.
Yes, sir.
I think if we even to add to that point, one of the things that I found out in trying to navigate those type of conversations is many people who we're having the conversation with, they don't even understand what it means to be a conservative. They don't even understand what it means to be we say these words and we toss words around, but do you really understand the definition of what it means to be a conservative? Do you understand that if I say you're conservative, that means you're averse to change? You hold to these traditional values. Do you understand what that means to be a conservative politically? Do you understand that you mean that you're saying you believe that the government should play a smaller role in regulating business and managing the economy? Do you understand what you're saying? You believe that they typically support economic liberalization. Do you understand what that means, that you are opposing to welfare programs, or you're opposing to those that want to redistribute income to assist the poor? Like, you're opposing some of these things. Do you know what that means? Do you know what it means to be liberal? Do you understand those definitions? And so I think once we can sit down and make sure we're telling them or explaining to them what these definitions really mean, especially for us in the African American community, are these things you really support? And in its simplest form, its simplest term, breaking it down, starting in that space, let's talk about what these words mean. And so really now that you know what it means to be liberal, now that you know what it means to be conservative, let's start the conversation. Are you sure these are really the values you want to hold on to? Or
sometimes some of those values are Christian nationalists.
My point exactly, because until it's brought up, then you don't even know. You're just saying that, but then when you start, wait, this what that means? Oh, because the I've had when we start talking about these definitions and terms and words, of
Yeah.
course, just like we do, we say bringing it back to the Bible. How many times in when we preach and stuff, we say words but don't understand the meanings of the words that we say, and sometimes the meaning of something can change the whole text around. But it's in these we're talking about really navigating this space. I think it starts with making sure we have a clear definition of what these terms mean, and the people who hold on to them, what they're all about. And that's one way it's to starting that to navigate conversation.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Bishop Winton, I want to go higher with you, and then it can go back around. I see so many young men, our rappers, influencers, and being an influencer is a tricky thing, because you can use that, y'all, for good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think a lot of us understand when we're asking for that influence in our lives, that we have to be careful. What we endorse and what we say. So a lot of them are saying, shoot, when so-and-so was in, because I know we nonpartisan, the organization, my podcast, it ain't my podcast. When so-and-so was in, I got a check.
Yeah, right.
Not understanding that the president of the United States has nothing to do with a check. Because we don't understand. We need to go back to them things in school. I don't know if they had them when y'all was there. Them videos and little cartoons. This is a bill. This is how a bill gets passed. Did y'all still have that in school?
I'm just a bill.
Schoolhouse Rock. Schoolhouse Rock.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, I didn't date myself then. We need to go back to that, because some people don't understand how the presidency
That's
works.
good. That's good.
And how the House and the Senate works, and how a bill gets passed.
That's
And you
good.
didn't get a check because the president said it.
Mm-hmm.
You got a check because the Congress came together
Come on.
and agreed to do it
Mm-hmm.
from all over, nonpartisan.
Yes.
Nonpartisan means that we came together and we put aside our partisan rhetoric, which is the word I want to use. So when it just burns me, y'all. It burns me when we say, I want this one back in because they gave us a check. There was a pandemic. Actually, I didn't get a check until that person was out, to be honest with you. Mine came later. I don't know how that worked, but I'm just saying, we ain't naming names. How do we, Winton, decipher rhetoric from facts? You heard Bishop Boutin share that he did a survey. Okay. That's information that he's taken, that he needs to work on those people to let them know rhetoric. Something happened since 2016. There's a lot of rhetoric.
Whole lot.
Now we need to call it like where it is. It's a lot of rhetoric and lies. How do we educate our people in 30-some days to decipher, so that they can, if they still want to go with whoever, that they understand the facts from the rhetoric? Bishop Winton.
That's good, Bishop, because I think that goes back to what Brandon Bishop Boutin was saying. Ambidextrous leadership allows us to sit
Hold on, let me look up that word. Siri. Siri.
Stop.
Siri,
Tell you, but these bishops, boy, they come with the heat.
That's one of them. That's one of them bishop. Listen to Siri. She heard me. That's one of them Craig Oliver words. No, go ahead. I'm
I think ambidextrous leadership allows us to sit in the spaces where we are informed about this information. But like you said, the rhetoric is what we hear. But I would argue that we need to go back, because we have an ecclesiastical, and I hear this, I know it's not going to be popular, but we have an ecclesiastical responsibility, not just to the word, not just to rhetoric, but to the things that impact the people that we lead. And so, Bishop, we got 30 days. And in that 30 days, I believe that if leaders have influence, that influence should be spent pulling the facts. And here's the beauty. Now, what Brandon did was primary data, right? But as leaders, we can go get secondary data if need be. You
Yeah.
can pull secondary data from reliable sources
Mhm.
because people lie, okay? But
Easily.
data does not,
Mhm.
okay? And
Mhm.
so when we do that, then we take it not from what such and such said and sharing a sound bite, but now we are able to show people this is what the data says. And based on that data, and that's how we have made every major movement in this country, is when people can show the honest, the true data that reflects and that guides us to that. So I hope that answered the question, Bishop. I really think in order to get out of rhetoric, we're going to have to start showing data, not just in the community, but also from the pulpit.
Mm-hmm. Like what Bishop Winton said, if I can jump in real quick, because he talked about the data, right? And what no one's talking about, everyone's talking about how, like, you had your experience in the barbershop, Bishop Davis, and all of us have heard someone say, I'm probably not going to vote, or you read it, you see it on social media everywhere. But right now, one of the current polls, I'm not going to cite the location, but I'll share it with you guys. One of the current polls for 18 to 34-year-olds says that 73% of those who've been polled have given serious consideration to the election, right? They've thought about it, they've talked about it, and all that kind of stuff, right? 61% of those polled believe that this is probably one of the most important elections in decades, and maybe the most important in their lifetime, or at least adulthood, right? But only half of the 73 polled said they gonna vote.
Wow.
73%, right? So it's like you care enough to discuss it. The majority of you have determined that this is probably one of the most pivotal elections ever.
Yeah.
But half of you still decide you're not gonna vote because there's something missing in the gaps. Something in the gaps is missing for these individuals that are talking, whether it is their influences or whether it is, and I guess who they're listening to would be their influences, but the mainstream voices that they're hearing is navigating most of this for them, and that's sad.
Yeah.
How
That is
can
definitely true.
you say that is the most important and don't vote? Because I think that we're just used to, well, you know what, it's gonna be, it don't make no difference. But in this case,
Hmm.
it is gonna make a difference.
It
No,
is
it
gonna
really
be
is. It
A
is.
major
major
one,
one.
It is.
especially when somebody don't have to run again. And
That's real.
yeah,
That's real.
I think, are we listening?
Rhetoric and propaganda has us looking at a race issue. And I shared with the church the other day, you better pay attention because this is not a race issue. We live in a state where 30% to 40% of the people who are on Social Security don't look like us.
Wow.
Or state
This,
assistance.
so this is not, so if the pendulum swings the wrong way, it is not just our mothers, grandmothers, aunties, uncles, dads that are affected. This is not a black and white issue. This is so much bigger than that, that more people are affected. But like you said, Bishop, the power of propaganda is that we become distracted, and it's a tactic we see every time with a major issue. We become distracted, we look the other way while the house is on fire.
Why don't we just call it what it is? It's not just propaganda, it's lies.
It's lies.
Just
There's a whole
straight
lot of
lies.
lies.
Yeah, go ahead, Bishop.
And we fall victim to
We're
those
going
lies.
over a few minutes tonight, y'all, but go ahead, Bishop Withers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we fall victim to those lies so easily, again, because where we're getting our information, our sources of where we're getting our information from has been filled with individuals who just are really trying to basically get likes and views, and it's feeding and feeding and feeding our youth, our young adults, and they're moved by it because that's the platforms that they frequent. And so they're easily persuaded by way of who they feel is the one who's really influencing them. Let me ask this question. What do you feel that is a missing element from the parties, be it whichever way? Do you find, being with young pastors, young adults, children and youth, what do you feel is something that's actually missing, that's not being communicated as it relates to the demographic or the jurisdictions that y'all cover?
I think they're limited, and this is general, so this may be a vague response, but hear me out. They're limited in what they can say because those of us who understand know there's only so much they can say that they can actually do in 4 years. Because the first year and a half is going to be cleaning up or repairing whatever was before them. And then, it takes, we talked about how bills get passed. It takes things so long to get through. I think, I believe that, it's while I believe, I'm trying to be correct here. I know one side has been very focused on what they can do. One side has a plan. One side has a thought of a plan or something they said. But because there's a plan on one side, we're able to gravitate to and understand what the plan is to get done. But I think the responsible ones need to make sure that we say, we love the plan. Now, here's the part of the plan that we realistically expect to get done, not because it wasn't truthful, but because of how the engines of government work.
Okay.
Right. So I don't know, one side is missing the truth. The other side has to run on a platform that really makes people pull people into the promise of what can happen. Okay. And now if it's a 2-term person, most of all that stuff can probably happen. Right.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
but again, those are things that like Bishop Boutin said, as it relates to people understanding what all that means and what local and state elections do to fuel
How
the
that really
presidency and how
impacts.
everything. So I think that's part of it. So I kind of jumped on what the sides and then I kind of went
Oh, not for
broad.
you.
So
I got you.
go ahead.
But I think one of the things that we talk about, what's missing, to be honest with you, and I feel God is missing. He's missing because we don't hear him being referenced. We don't hear him being talked about in many of these spaces. And the God that we serve, right? That we believe to be God. It's a shying away from him. And because it's not mentioned, as Bishop Davis said earlier, at one time we know we had pastors and preachers that were going to be at the White House, that were going to make those statements, that were going to be out on the forefront. It made those who are running, it made them reverence. I gotta respect the God that this community serves. I have to be accountable to something. And because we don't see many of those leaders, or we don't have many of our young adults don't have the respect for the ones that are in place trying to do that because of their lifestyles or their own morality, you feel it takes God out of, like, it's not even important. And if he's not in that vicinity or not being talked about even within the church, why is my vote important? Because they don't care about God anyway. They don't care about the God that I serve anyway. And I feel that his presence is missing in this.
Last question, and everybody can get a piece of this, and that is, and Overseer Christopher sent me this question, and I think it's a good question. We sometimes become the rhetoric that we're talking about. So when we say that this is the most pivotal election in our lifetime, we say that all the time, every year. But here lately, it has been. No, we do, but this one really is. That democracy is on the ballot, like for real. Our president now says the soul of the nation, and it is for real. Why is it? Each one of y'all take a piece of this. Why is it so pivotal? Each one.
For me, it's so pivotal because I feel that if the wrong person gets in office, I feel that our ability to choose can be taken away. I think that our ability to choose, to have a choice in what we decide to do, is at stake. That if one way or one side gets in, that I won't have a choice as to if I want to do this or not. I'm going to be told this is what you're going to do. And you don't have any say so about this. And that's what democracy is. It's the ability to make a choice. Just like we talk about God, like a free moral agent, you can choose to do right, you can choose to do wrong. And I think it's the same when it's the election. It's so pivotal because literally one part is talking about taking away your ability to choose what you want to do. And no matter which way you try to shape that, that is major. That is pivotal. I don't want to be under a dictatorship. I don't want nobody telling me what I got to do. I want to make a choice to do the right thing or the wrong. I want to have the ability to choose. So for me, that's why this is so pivotal, because your ability to make a choice is on the line.
Yes.
And I think this is the first election that I can remember where there were policies on the borderline, just waiting to be introduced, to be passed. This Project 2025 and other stuff, where literal rights could be taken away. Literal programs would literally be ceased, like they're forecasting or proposing to remove certain things, right? And so it's what Bishop just said. I'm just saying it differently. Like, won't have the right I won't be able to choose, but those rights that the John Lewises and other people of our history have told us that we needed to value could be taken away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Winton?
I think we are in a pivotal space where even the leadership, not just from the standpoint of the people, but if we get emotional, incorrect leadership in place that is irrational, that is unhinged, and all of the above, I think we run the risk of reproducing more of the same kind of leadership. Because if that type of leadership is in place, what it does for everybody is it lets everyone know, my children, I'm not talking about me at this point, because by the time all of that rolls out, I'll be 60 something to see the effects of all of that, some of that stuff. But my kids will now be subjected to a falsehood of leadership, and that becomes the norm. And so for me, that is the fallout of this. And that is why it's important that no matter what, no matter how people personally feel, it's important that they make it their business to go out and to vote, period. Not a commercial, but I think everybody who is watching must understand that whether you like, because we ain't never like something that everybody did. You know what I'm saying? That we didn't like everything that one person did. However, this is pivotal, and this will have lasting effects, even for those who come way behind us, Bishop.
And we got to think about, I don't know, and this is not our presiding bishop's, this is my own opinion. I'm not looking for my president to be the moral compass. The president has to be the president of all people. We're supposed to be the moral compass. We're supposed to be the ones. So I'm not looking for that. Everybody, pinned to our Facebook page, you can check your status of voting. What's your status? You need to register. In some places, voting has already started. All right. Let's rock the vote. All right. Let's get the vote out. No matter which side you stand on. I have to say that. All right. I got to say that. No matter what side you stay on, you what side of the fence you're on, vote. But make sure you understand, here's the word, consequences from your vote. All right. Nobody is perfect, no. But if I'm gonna use scripture. He that has an ear, let him hear. If you listen, and don't get caught up in the rhetoric. You can start the music now, Overseer. Thank y'all so much. Propel is on the way. Please register. We will not have fellowship at home for 2 weeks, and then we'll be right back to continue our conversations on voting. We have more guests coming. Thank you, bishops. Thank you, Bishop.
Thank you, bishops. Thank you, Pastor
Christopher. I need y'all to stay here with me until we sign off. It's something I need y'all to do. All right.
All right.
Love y'all. everybody, make sure you share this again on behalf of our presiding bishop, Bishop Walker and Lady Walker, and our founders and our headquarters. Bishop
Yes.
Poole, thank you for what you do to help put this together.
Cool.
Appreciate you so much. All right. We
Thank
out
y'all.
here.
Out of here. See y'all. Peace and blessings.
He's my God. He's my God.